The man who once owned La Gloria Cubana is now out with his own line of cigars. Will lightning strike twice with his new line of sticks? Hey everyone, and welcome to Puff, Rotate, and Review, the cigar review show that tells you exactly what it's going to do in its title. I'm Bob Woods, publisher and managing editor of Stogie'd, as well as National Cigar Examiner for Examiner.com. This week we've got a stick that we've been looking to try ever since it came out last fall. It's been written up pretty extensively, so the build-up for me is, well, pretty intense. It's the EP Carrillo core line of cigars. We're specifically looking at the Golosos size. Well, I hope I pronounced that right. It's a biggin stick that's 6 1/4 inches long by a 60 ring gauge. That's right, a 60 ring gauge. It was made in the Dominican Republic using an Ecuadorian wrapper, binder from Nicaragua, and filler from both Nicaragua and the DR. We paid $9.50 for it from our new friends at the Tobacco Leaf in Jessup, Maryland, which is just east of Columbia. Columbia, Maryland, not Columbia, the country. Now, depending on which internet source you're willing to believe, Golosos might mean gluttonous, having a sweet tooth, or, yeah, I'm not sure I believe this one either, but being easily aroused. For our purposes, though, let's just call it big. I mean really large. It's not often we get a cigar of this ring gauge for our ratings. And some, like myself, would say it's not often enough. With all that in mind, I'm curious to see if these cigars can match up with La Gloria Cubana's quality and taste. Before we puff, rotate, and review, we always match up our cigars with some kind of drink or libation on the show. Now, these drinks don't always have to have alcohol. In fact, we recently had a coffee that went along very well with the stick we were rating at the time. Just to let you know, we're taping this during the week, and it's mid-afternoon actually, so I'm staying away from alcohol. Instead, I'm going to be drinking soda water. Homemade soda water, in fact. Oh yeah, so homemade, you think you saw what happened there. Now, this stuff is from SodaStream, and it's actually made in a machine that pumps carbon dioxide directly into the water. It's a really cool system, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about it from me in the coming weeks. For now, let's just say that SodaStream is saving us a ton of money here in the Woods household, enough to buy a higher class of cigar for these ratings. You can definitely save money with SodaStream, and maybe even move up in your price class of stick, if you really want, by getting one of these machines. Now, I've drank seltzer water in the past with my cigars. It's a great palate cleanser between puffs. You know, you're not exactly going to get a extremely clean palate between puffs, but it's still really kind of it's got a little bit of an abrasive thing going on there. So no matter if you get a SodaStream machine or you buy seltzer or club soda at the store, whatever, I think you'll see that these products do make for a great palate cleanser. Initially, this cigar is another one of those feels like a barbell sticks at 6 1/4 inches by 60 ring gauge. Yeah, it definitely should. It's very, very solid construction. It's hardly any veins at all. There's like one there that I see. There's barely any tooth to it too, and boy, it's just, you can tell that this thing is not going to fall apart, and it's not going to fall apart by, you know, staring it down, which is, you know, sometimes you kind of feel that way with some cigars out there. So for my initial impression of the cigar, I'm going to give it a 4.7. If this stogie were the equivalent of a person, you wouldn't want to meet it in a dark alley. So I'm going to cut this with a Zycar VX V cutter. Oh, that is so sweet. I'm actually going to have a review on the cutter on the cigar cutter. Quite frankly, I'm usually a double guillotine guy. This is the first time, that's literally the first time I've ever cut with a V cutter. I'm going to have a full review about it later this month in a show called, appropriately enough, Cigar Stuff. It's going to be reviewing all types of accessories and things that that help you enjoy cigars that much more. And as I said, look for that show later in February. So for now, the moment I find my lighter, let's go ahead and light this up. Number one, that works very well in terms of the cut. Okay, it's described as a medium to full cigar. I'd put it probably a little bit more towards the full category as opposed to the medium category. Right off the top here, I'm getting a lot of pepper. I'm getting cedar, maybe a little bit of coffee too. Yeah, definitely a little bit of coffee as well. But it's starting out definitely heading towards the full side, but not quite there yet. So with all that in mind, I'm going to give this 4.7 rating for the start of this cigar. And I got to tell you, this puppy has the potential to be a real powerhouse of a stick. I can't wait to get through more of this cigar, like right now. So it's time to shut off the camera and start up with the cigar and do some serious damage to this EP Carrillo. And later in the show, we'll have details on how you can score 2 of these cigars for yourself as part of the PP&R weekly sweepstakes. We're at the midpoint of this stick from the EP Carrillo core line of cigars. This one is the Golosos Vitola, which, you know something, when it comes to this cigar, the word Golosos in Spanish should just mean huge, because it's not only a huge cigar, it has a pretty huge taste to it too. Speaking of taste, definitely getting pepper and some more spices coming in as well. For me, the cedar and the coffee flavors that were present at the beginning are really starting to go to more of an undertone type of flavor right now, as well as starting to get a little bit of nuttiness in there, and just a bit of a, for lack of a better term, an earthy undertone, I guess is probably the way to put it. Still very good, and I gotta tell you, normally during the week, I don't exactly eat a lot until later in the day, and this cigar is definitely taking its toll right now. You definitely tell it's got a lot of flavor and a lot of oomph to it. So at the midpoint for this stogie, I'm going to give it a 4.6. It's still a great cigar that I'm going to maintain. Well, actually, I'd say that it's actually going a bit more to the fuller side of the medium to full flavor range. Time to shut down the camera again and enjoy some more of this EP Carrillo stick. I'll be back for the end of the cigar rating, as well as examine the construction of the cigar and rate that and average it all out, and also let you know if it is if a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on the price and everything else that we find out about the cigar as we keep going. So we're at about the end point of this cigar now, and it has served its job very, very well. Still getting some of the pepper, a lot of the spice, a little bit of the nuttiness. The earth tones are actually coming out a bit more as it comes to the end. It's also definitely veered way over into the full category, so in terms of its flavor at least. So if you like a full cigar, it's definitely going to fulfill your taste needs at the very end there. So at the end, I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm also glad I bought more of this one than I normally do for other sticks that I rate here. It's a very, very good full-bodied cigar. Construction-wise, need to make a little bit of an admission here. Today is Tuesday. I was originally supposed to record this on Monday, but you know, life happened and that just didn't occur. Unfortunately, I forgot to put it back into the humidor, so it's been in a dry environment for about 24 hours. So some of the things that you would expect from a dryer cigar definitely happened with this particular stick that I have here right now. Now that being said, I was able to do a pre-smoke, as I call it, on Sunday just before the Super Bowl, and that stick was fantastic in terms of its construction. It burned very evenly, never had to touch it up once, and would just perform very, very well. That, my friends, is the very definition of an extremely well-made cigar. So for my construction rating, I'm actually going to base it on that one and not on this particular one, because I'm the one who screwed up that one and I'm not going to hold it against them. So for the construction, I'm giving the EP Carrillo core line a very high 4.7. Okay, time to average out our ratings. You know, you add it all up, divide by X, you carry the 1, you work in pi there somehow, and, well, you know what I mean. So, averaging it all out, the EP Carrillo core line in the Golosos size averages out to a very excellent 4.6, among the highest rating we've had so far in the relatively short time we've done cigar ratings here. Now it's time to answer a big question for us. Is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Now we determine that by combining price with our thoughts about the cigar in general. In other words, is it worth spending that amount of money for the cigar? So you're talking about a 4.6 average rating for about a $9.50 cigar, and at least in my mind, you're coming out with a big time yes. It's definitely a thumbs up, even though it may be on the expensive side for some out there. Now I do want to note that other smaller sizes are available of this line. You can get the Encanto side, for example. That's almost a, well no, that is an almost 5-inch long stick by a 50 ring gauge. I've seen that for about $7 online. So it is possible to enjoy this entire line and not come near that $9.50 to $10 per stick barrier. So before we go, I do need to quickly answer the question, did EP Carrillo capture the essence of the La Gloria Cubana line? Well, for me, in a word, yes, it did. The quality is there. You've got a lot of the similar flavors, yet it is definitely a cigar that stands out on its own. And most important, you're definitely reminded of the always high-scoring La Gloria line. All in all, good times, good times. So for Puff, Rotate, and Review, I'm Bob Woods, saying if you choose to enjoy cigars, here's hoping you're able to puff and rotate as often as you like, wherever you like. And we'll see you next time.